All right. So it's Sunday, June 23rd, 2024. We're on the Ultimate World Cruise, and we are just arriving in Zadar, Croatia. And today we're going to go to the Krka National Park and see the waterfalls and also the famous sea organ back in the port of Zadar. So, first of all, here we are. Welcome to Zadar. And this is the welcome the local band gave us as we got off the ship. Well, after that send-off, 23 of us loaded up onto a bus and drove about 45 minutes out to the village of Skradden, or Skradden, I don't know how you pronounce it. And this is where you pick up the boats that take you to Krka National Park. And Krka National Park is famous for its waterfalls. And to get there, you got to travel upstream on this river from this port of Skradden. Now, the port is open to the sea, so if you go downstream, you can get to the ocean, and ships can come in from the ocean. You saw some of the luxury ships that were parked there. But the National Park Service has this group of ferries that will take you from Skradden up to the national park. There's a dock up there. And it's quite a pleasant trip. It only takes about 15 minutes to get there, and it was such a beautiful day today, and the water is beautiful. So at some point the water becomes brackish because it's open to the ocean, but I think at this point it's mostly fresh, and certainly up at the national park it's all beautifully clean, clear, fresh water. Zadar. Zadar was an imaginary planet in outer space where I told the kids I was going to get them a one-way ticket when they were being naughty. So it's kind of a family joke, but it's really Zadar. Anyway, it is a beautiful trip. The water is kind of a gorgeous green. It almost looks like it's again glacier water. There's a dock coming up on the left, and unload at the dock and work your way up to the falls. Krka National Park. Used to be able to swim here, but I think they've had so many people drown that I don't think they allow swimming anymore. A lot of us came prepared to be able to get in the water, but weren't able to today. So this is a series of waterfalls. We're going to follow the river upstream as the cascades, get progressively higher and higher up to a village that's on top. And there's a small hydroelectric plant up there. And again, it's interesting, Croatia was about 30 plus years out of the communist rule. The country was created when Yugoslavia was divided into various countries in 1991. So our guide gave us a lot of really good information about the country, what's going on with employment, jobs, and all sorts of things. And the locals kind of have a joke. They have some rules that are kind of ridiculous now, like you can only have one job legally. The locals call the place Absurdistan instead of Croatia, so we thought that was funny. But they really are working through the growing pains of coming out of communism just 30 some years ago. And it's a beautiful country. We totally enjoyed the time here. We actually have a couple of more stops in Split, Croatia tomorrow, and then in Dubrovnik the next day. Yep. Well, our guide explained to us that it's a very country. They still typically have large families here. She said it's a very safe place, and I think once they get their economic issues worked out, they'll be in a lot better shape. But people, if they don't like something, they make jokes about it and laugh about it rather than complain. So I really enjoyed listening to our guide today. It's nice to hear somebody who is honest and truthful about the good and the bad, and we appreciated her candor. Yeah, this is the old turbine wheel out of the powerhouse that was here. They still have a hydro generating plant up on top. We didn't get to go through it, but look at that beautiful water. I can show you where the hydro plant buildings are. But I can imagine that the people that lived here had a really good life. A little village up on top. They're surrounded by water. There's tons of fish, as you'll see in a few minutes, in this river. So they had clean water, plenty of food, and power from that the water generated for the things they wanted to make. I think it was one of the first areas in Croatia that had electricity. They said that Tesla worked with them to create the original power plant here. Nikola Tesla. Yeah, there are the power plant buildings off there on the right. That water just so beautiful coming down there. You can see how clean and clear it is. I would totally recommend that if you come to Zadar, that you make the trip up here to the national park, because it's really worth it. And again, it's only about 45-minute drive from Zadar, so. This is the village up on top, and they had some displays in there about traditional clothing and what their living conditions were like. But they had it very well organized, channels where the water went to feed the powerhouse and such. This path loops around. It starts down at the base, goes up one side of the river until we get to this top village up here, and then there's a series of raised passage or supported walkways that cross over the river, and then you go back down the other side. So this is a look at one area. There's so many fish in this river, and the water looks so nice. I filmed a couple of ponds where there were hundreds of trout. All right, so we walked back down to the base, hopped back into buses, and then headed back to Zadar, where we were fortunate to meet our daughter and son-in-law who came to visit us. They were in Vienna, and they took a flight from Vienna down to Zadar, met us, and we were able to have a really wonderful lunch afternoon with them. We ate lunch and walked along this seawall, and we took a look at the famous sea organ, which I'm going to show you in a minute. and we were so happy to see him after being on the ship for 6.5 months. It's very good to see some family again. So this is some kind of a solar thing. It collects energy during the day, and then I think it's the light at night. I'm not really sure. But the sea organ is about 100 yards from this thing. And the tide comes in and causes this organ to play various chords. And so depending on what the waves look like, you can hear it. I'm just going to let it go. You can listen. Here, let's get we need a forepole of us here by the sea organ. How does it work?
Video down.
I got lots of fish pictures. Just stick the camera on the
Yeah, well, I saw that one the other day.